Running a Gourmet City in the Apocalypse. Chapter 1. Binding the Gourmet Management System at 3 a.m. in the Oncology Department of Jiangcheng People's Hospital, Jiangyin, emaciated to the bone, curled up uncontrollably, vomiting blood mouthful after mouthful. The smell of blood quickly spread. Snap, the overhead light turned on, and the caregiver from the next bed rushed over to press the call button. Jiang Yin felt her body being laid flat by the medical staff, various devices swiftly attached to her, and people continuously calling her name. But the noise quickly faded away from her, and she felt herself floating lightly, looking down at her own body lying on the hospital bed, realizing belatedly, "Oh, did I die?" There were regrets, but not much fear. The torment of stomach cancer made death seem like a release. It was just a pity for her talents. Her junior brother had schemed to push her out of the Jiangcheng culinary world, yet he wasn't capable enough to uphold Shanghai, and it was estimated that in a year or two, the master's hard work would fall out of the top 10 restaurants in the country. However, she was already dead. What good was being unwilling? Jiang Yin deliberately ignored those feelings of injustice and reluctance. Death is like the extinguishing of a lamp. She just wanted to leave peacefully. Suddenly, beep, a host meeting the binding criteria has been detected. The Gourmet Management System is about to come online. Hello, candidate host. I am the Gourmet Management System. Would you like to bind with me? Finally convinced that the sudden voice was not an illusion, she tentatively asked, "What is the Gourmet Management System? And what happens if I bind with you?" This system comes from Nomade technology, aimed at those who have a true pursuit of gourmet, but cannot fulfill their ambitions due to various reasons to make up for regrets. Once you choose to bind with me, you need to complete the tasks set by the system, and upon completing all tasks, you can be rewarded with resurrection. She first noticed that the name of the technology was a string of gibberish. Then she was attracted by the last few words, resurrection. Those suppressed emotions suddenly erupted. Only then did she realize how strong her unwillingness was, needing just a spark to ignite. "Okay, I'll bind with you." Deep consent from the host obtained, now proceeding with soul binding. Binding complete, searching for task worlds, search complete, about to transport to task world. A transparent vortex appeared in front of Jiang Yin, and her light soul involuntarily entered it. Soon, her body suddenly felt heavy, and she felt the sensation of standing on solid ground. Opening her eyes, she found herself face to face with a gaping maw. Holy shit! She was so frightened that she sat down on the ground, her palms scraped painfully by the rough stones before realizing she had a body again. For the convenience of the host to complete tasks, the system has selected a body compatible with the host in this world. Please note, this body is only borrowed, and only by completing tasks can the soul and flesh remain bound. The gaping maw yawned, seemingly not noticing her, and sauntered off. She noticed it was a splendidly large tiger, twice the size of the largest tiger species in the animal world. Looking around, were those 5 or 6 meter tall dandelions, and sunflowers with a diameter of 3 or 4 meters. Beep. Now transferring information about this world to the host. With this sound from the system, she quickly understood what was going on with these gigantic plants and animals. This was a post-apocalyptic world. The body she borrowed was also named Jiang Yin. In a world where most animals and plants had mutated and some humans had awakened various abilities, the fate of ordinary people like her original self was naturally not good. They were tasked with the dirtiest work, even selling themselves to survive. But even so, they could lose their lives at any moment. Her original self was forcibly taken out of the base to be used as bait for hunting and was killed by a mutated deer piercing her abdomen. She touched her smooth abdomen, grateful that the system had repaired her body's injuries. But because the original self died with unresolved grievances, as a price for borrowing the body, she had to fulfill the original self's most urgent wish before death, revenge. She had no objections. She preferred a clear exchange over an unearned gift. Understanding the background of the world, she began to check the system tasks. Manage a gourmet city? The location of the gourmet city was right behind her. After she accepted the task, a small shop of about 7 square meters materialized from the void. Looking up at the sign, she read the shop's name, Pancake Stall. Very straightforward. The front half of the shop facing outward was a condiment counter, and the other half was a pancake stove, large enough to cook 4 pancakes simultaneously, though only one burner was currently in use. Open storage shelves were on the left and right walls, with a large freezer in the back, next to which was a small door. All ingredients could be purchased from the System Mall, but she had no money at the moment. The host can owe 10 sets of pancake ingredients, which must be repaid within 3 days. Failure to repay on time will be considered a task failure, and the system will unbind from the host. Would such a small debt really kill her? She was somewhat speechless, but had no choice but to accept. However, if you want me to do business, at least pick a busier place for me. Who will buy pancakes in this godforsaken location? The location was determined by the host's first landing. The system cannot modify it. Luckily, there was a small path within sight, indicating it wasn't completely deserted. After familiarizing herself with the shop layout, she busily mixed the batter, shredded and washed the cabbage, marinated the beef strips, and then sat behind the counter, hopefully watching the path. However, an entire day passed in silence. Actually, she wasn't very surprised. From the original self's memories, she knew that this world classified wilderness areas from E to S based on danger levels, with E being the safest and S known as death grounds. Her location was a sea-level hazardous area, only occasionally entered by powerful ability user teams for hunting. By 4 in the afternoon, it was already getting dark, and the antique lanterns in front of the pancake stall automatically lit up, along with the arrival of the system's bill. The pancake stall's water, electricity, and gas usage also needed to be paid for, with the electricity, water, and gas bills each costing 1 level 1 crystal nucleus per month. Crystal nuclei were the hard currency of this world, born within various mutated animals and plants. Without doing anything, Jiang Yin found herself in debt of 10 crystal nuclei and felt this couldn't continue. She needed to find a way to start business. Gurgle, forget it. In this vast world, eating is the most important thing. Let's fill up first before thinking of strategies. Picking up the pancake spatula, she couldn't help feeling emotional. Having not touched kitchen utensils since falling ill, skillfully, she scooped a bit of pork fat onto the round iron plate, waiting for the fat to melt before pouring the batter on, quickly spreading it into shape. Gently tapping an egg on the edge of the pan, she applied a slight force, and the eggshell obediently split open, the yolk and white falling onto the pancake, evenly spread with a tool. At this point, one side of the pancake was already golden brown. With a deft flick, the pancake obediently flipped over. She then quickly stir-fried some marinated beef and shredded cabbage on the vacant spot, swiftly spreading chili sauce on the pancake when flipping it back, topping it with condiments, and gently rolling it up with the spatula. A pancake was completed. The ingredients provided by the system were of excellent quality, and she hadn't eaten well for a long time. Now, smelling this fragrance, she couldn't help but gulp down her saliva. She bit into it eagerly, simultaneously burning her tongue and uncontrollably chewing vigorously. Meanwhile, on the other side of the path, a team of ability users suddenly stopped. A man as sturdy as a bear sniffed hard. Do you smell that? It's so fragrant. Chapter 2. Visitors arrive. Actually, there was no need to ask, as his teammates made the same action. Gurgling sounds filled the woods. Ability users naturally had a larger appetite than ordinary people, and they had missed lunch due to an accident. Now their mouths shimmered with suspicious gloss. The bear-like man looked at the only calm team leader, asking eagerly, "Boss, shall we go take a look?" The others chimed in. "Yeah, boss, we could bear it before, but now I feel like I'm going to starve to death." "Why does it smell so good? What exactly is it?" "I'll die if I don't eat whatever's smelling so good today, boss." Gu Whiting pursed his lips. "Let's go take a look." "All right, I'll lead the way." When Jiang Yin had half of the pancake left, she slowed down her eating pace. The original owner of the body, who had lived at the bottom of society, hadn't had a full meal for a long time, and her stomach began to protest with pain. She decided to save the remaining pancake for a midnight snack and finish it later. Just as she placed the leftover pancake on the counter, it suddenly darkened in front of her. A bear was leaning on the counter, staring straight at the remaining pancake, reaching out to grab it, and then it was blocked by an invisible barrier. Jiang Yin remembered the system saying that the location of the gourmet city was a safe zone, not only protecting her safety, but also restricting others' malice. She could see clearly now. The bear in front of her was actually a man. Because of his burly figure and the brown-black beast skin he wore, she had been mistaken. He tried hard to grab the leftover pancake, but despite the veins bulging on the back of his hand, his fingertips couldn't advance an inch. Ah Xiong. A clear male voice stopped his action. Soon, a black-haired, black-eyed man approached with 3 others. Ah Xiong immediately stood up straight and hurriedly said, "Boss, I wasn't messing around. I was planning to pay." As he spoke, he opened his left hand, revealing a handful of glowing crystal nuclei in his palm. Jiang Yin's eyes lit up. This was exactly the customer she had been waiting for. Gu Huiding helplessly looked at his teammate. Knowing he had forgotten several times before the troubles caused by his burly figure and reckless actions, Tio built a temporary house here and dare to eat food full of aroma in a sea-level dangerous area. The person must be a powerful ability user, and such people often have bad tempers. It seemed that today they would have to welcome to you Shanghai Gourmet City's pancake stall. The sweet voice interrupted his thoughts, and Gu Huiding then noticed the petite, young owner behind the counter, Jiang Yin, wearing a light blue apron and holding a pancake spatula, looked at the group with bright eyes. Hoping they would order more pancakes, Ji Huiding wondered, Gourmet City? Where's the city? And a pancake stall in a sea-level dangerous area. How strange is that? But his teammates couldn't care less about these details, as the aroma from the remaining half pancake became even more overpowering, their saliva almost overflowing. Boss. Ah Xiong looked pitifully. I want to eat. Gu Huiding, how much for your pancakes? Please see the price list here. She became even more enthusiastic. Everyone's gaze immediately focused on the price list in front of the counter. Egg pancake. 2 level 1 crystal nuclei each. Beef egg pancake. 3 level 1 crystal nuclei each. Soy milk. 1 level 1 crystal nucleus per cup. These were system-set prices, and she had no authority to change them. The original owner of the body had hardly ever earned any crystal nuclei, so she wasn't sure if these prices were expensive or cheap. Now, she could only silently pray that these people wouldn't be too stingy. Ji Huiding glanced at the half pancake left on the counter and then at Jiang Yin. She showed no signs of power, and her slender arms and legs made her look like an ordinary person. This made everything in front of him even more bizarre. He was not swayed by his teammates' longing looks, only saying lightly, "How, you try first." The skinny man stepped forward, with his teammates looking on enviously and expectantly, calmly ordered, 1 beef egg pancake, 1 cup of soy milk. All right, please wait a moment. She immediately got to work. Sizzle. A small piece of lard melted on the pan, the batter poured and spread, the aroma of the pancake instantly stimulated. The clear egg liquid fell on the pancake, and after flipping, it directly contacted the pan. The sound and aroma stimulating them simultaneously. Even Gu Huiding was a bit unable to hold back. After years of apocalypse, the variety and taste of food were extremely limited. So a seemingly ordinary pancake was enough to challenge their proud self. Control. Jiang Yin scooped a spoonful of beef strips, grabbed a handful of shredded cabbage, quickly stir-fried it with the remaining lard, and then asked, "Do you want chili sauce?" "Yes," Gu Huiding replied before realizing he had overstepped. Glancing at his teammates, he found everyone was drooling uncontrollably, not paying attention to anything else. He then relaxed, his gaze quickly returning to Jiang Yin as she brushed a thin layer of red chili sauce on the pancake, then topped it with cabbage and beef, and finally rolled it up skillfully with a spatula, the pancake securely landing in a paper bag. Soy milk will take a moment. That'll be 4 level 1 crystal nuclei. Sunha took out 4 light green crystal nuclei and placed them on the counter, eagerly receiving the pancake. She then scooped a cup of soaked soybeans into the soy milk machine, filled it with cold boiled water, and turned on the switch. In just a moment, the machine roared, startling Gu Whiting and the others. Damn, it's so loud, the mutant beasts will all come over. Xiong looked around nervously, his huge body already in a defensive stance. She was startled, then remembered if the system dared to bring out the soy milk machine, it must ensure its safe use, so she relaxed and smiled. Please rest assured. The things you're worried about won't happen. Xiong was unconvinced, but Gu Whiting stopped him. Boss, she's not following the wilderness safety rules. Did you notice anything strange here? Gu Whiting's expression was inexplicable. The pancake smells so good, yet not a single mutant beast has appeared. Right. Xiong suddenly realized. Ignoring their murmurs, she filtered the white soy milk 3 times before pouring it into a disposable cup and asked, "Do you want sugar in your soy milk?" Sun Hao had already taken a big bite of the pancake and could only nod vigorously in response. She immediately opened the jar, scooped out a bit of crystalline snow-white sugar into the soy milk, took a stirring stick and stirred clockwise 5 times. Then put on the lid, handed it over along with a straw, and cautioned, "Be careful, it's hot." Because her master had always taught her to focus when cooking, she hadn't noticed the shock in the eyes of these customers. After finishing the customers' orders, she finally had time to think about other things. Seeing that these 5 big men had only ordered 1 pancake and 1 cup of soy milk after much deliberation, she had already categorized them as poor, but seeing how they took good care of the weakest member of their team, she nodded secretly. Although poor, they had good character. Once she had paid off her debt, she might consider making friends with them depending on the situation. What she didn't know was that Sun Hao's ability made him immune to all poisons, so the safety of anything the team consumed was his responsibility. The pancake stall, in the eyes of Gu Whiting and the others, was mysterious and bizarre, so they naturally treated it with the utmost caution. Chapter 3. The pancake stall gets an upgrade. As soon as Sun Hao swallowed a bite, Xiong anxiously asked, "How is it?" Just to be safe, let me have another bite." Sun Hao took another bite, and more than half of the 2 palm-sized pancakes were gone. Chewing vigorously, he felt the pancake was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, complemented by the sweet vegetables, tender eggs, properly marinated beef, and the spicy sauce, almost making him swallow his tongue. Initially, his teammates waited patiently, but when they saw Sun Hao eating non-stop, they finally realized, what a trick. He wasn't testing for poison, he was enjoying it. Jiang Yin was wiping the pancake spatula when she was startled by several loud bangs and turned her head to see the Poor Ability Squad, members pushing and shoving each other to get to the counter. As if they had gone mad, she asked the system worriedly, "They really can't break through, right?" Before the system could answer, the few people pressing down on the counter suddenly flew backward. Jiang Yin was shocked. Is this what abilities look like? They seem very powerful. Ji Yu Whiting walked leisurely from the pile of his teammates on the ground, and his words were like music to her ears. 15 beef egg pancakes, 5 cups of soy milk. Wow, a big order. She even saluted excitedly. All right, please wait a moment. Jiang Yin was quick, and soon everything they ordered was ready. Outside the pancake stall, there were now 5 starving ghosts, including Gu Whiting, who usually seemed the most composed. Eating without looking up, Jiang Yin felt a joy she hadn't felt in a long time. Her master had always implemented the idea that food should bring happiness to people, which also influenced her. But since being schemed against by her junior brother and being diagnosed with stomach cancer, she hadn't felt this sense of satisfaction for a long time. Initially, she had seen all this as a stepping stone to resurrection, but now she suddenly felt motivated. In this post-apocalyptic world, surely gourmet food could bring more happiness to everyone. Thinking this, her gaze towards Gu Huiting and the others softened a lot, no longer seeing them just as wallets. At this moment, Gu Huiting and his teammates were indeed very happy. Meat, this is meat. Gu Huiting bought 3 pancakes for each of his teammates, but they were still not satisfied. After finishing, they each ordered more. After tallying their orders, she spent 10 crystal nuclei to purchase 20 sets of pancake ingredients. The sound of ingredients colliding with hot oil was endless, and the soy milk machine beside was also busy. Gu Huiting and his teammates were eating so happily, almost bubbling with joy. Jiang Yin calculated. On average, each man had devoured 4 pancakes and 2 cups of soy milk. Xiang even said he was only half full. Their appetites were indeed astonishing, but Gu Huiting wouldn't let them eat anymore. It's almost 6 o'clock. We must return to the base immediately. Once he spoke, although the others were reluctant, they still got ready to leave. Boss, the danger level in the sea area increases at night. Are you sure you don't want to come with us? She smiled and waved her hand at their kind offer. Thank you for your concern, but I have no plans to leave here. I look forward to your next visit. Gu Huiting gave her a deep look, didn't say anything more, and quickly led the team away from her sight. The woods returned to silence, and as time passed, the light dimmed further, making the pancake stall look like an island, stubbornly shining a light in the thick night. Jiang Yin was checking today's earnings. After repaying the debt of 10 crystal nuclei, she had a surplus of 60 crystal nuclei. With a group of eagerly waiting customers, she had been busy making pancakes and soy milk, hearing several system notifications but not checking them until now, only to discover there was an achievement system. Achievements like make 10 pancakes, earn 10 crystal nuclei, earn 50 crystal nuclei. She had completed several. Each achievement came with a reward called Blue Diamonds, and after claiming her first Blue Diamond, the Blue Diamond exclusive page was synchronized in the store. The items on this page were incredible. Not only could she buy various abilities, but she also saw something she cared about the most. Item: Resurrection Potion. Price: 999,999 blue diamonds, and she currently only had 5 blue diamonds, but compared to what the system had said before, having a clear price for the item instead stirred her fighting spirit even more. After motivating herself, she had to consider a practical problem: where to sleep tonight. She quickly found the answer in the system stored. In the store's miscellaneous goods page, there were facilities like Gourmet City Manager's Dormitory, Gourmet City Staff Dormitory, etc., with prices ranging from 5 crystal nuclei to 50 crystal nuclei, depending on the luxury level. Now wasn't the time for enjoyment. She only purchased a simple staff cabin for 5 crystal nuclei. In the blink of an eye, a single room appeared behind the pancake stall, connected to the door next to the freezer. The single room was about 10 square meters. Besides a narrow bathroom, it only had a 1-meter bed, a simple wall cabinet, and a folding table. After checking the layout, she sat back down at the pancake stall and saw the last system prompt: 20 pancakes sold. The pancake stall can be upgraded. Would you like to spend 10 crystal nuclei to upgrade to level 2? Now that she had 60 level 1 crystal nuclei left, and the upgrade would leave enough for restocking, she didn't hesitate to choose yes. Pancake stall upgrade countdown 00:10:00.10 minutes flew by, and the changes to the pancake stall were very noticeable. The pancake pan became 2, the soy milk machine was upgraded to a faster model, and new products, jujube soy milk and bacon egg pancake ingredients, were available for purchase, with the finished products priced at 2 and 4 level 1 crystal nuclei respectively. She nodded in satisfaction, warmed up the leftover half of the beef egg pancake on the pan, ready to eat her midnight snack and rest. Just as she took a bite, the woods rustled, and a head peeked out, its dark eyes fixed on the pancake in her hand. Gulp! The loud sound of swallowing echoed in the clearing. Chapter 4. Can you take it away? Jiang Yin slowly lifted the beef egg pancake, feeling 2 tangible gazes following her movement. Seeing the drooling mouth of a child who was still half hidden behind a tree, she found it somewhat amusing. Given the good start to the day, she was in a great mood. Seeing the child's saliva almost turning into a waterfall, she stood up, skillfully made a set of bacon egg pancakes, put them in a paper bag, and walked over to ask, "Want it?" The child didn't speak, but his gaze was firmly fixed on the pancake. As she approached, she noticed the child's hair reached his waist, but was clearly untended for a long time, forming a large clump like a heavy board hanging on his back. A bit of his shoulder was exposed, draped in a strange garment mixed with animal skin and plants. He seemed very scared, hiding further behind the tree as she drew near. She wasn't sure of the child's background, and since his location was outside the safe zone, she didn't move any closer. Instead, she found a stick, hung the pancake bag on it, and slowly extended it towards him. Crack! The stick was snapped in half, and the child bit off a large chunk of the paper bag along with the pancake in one gulp. "Wait, the bag can't." Before she could finish, the figure in front of her had disappeared. Truly a child of the apocalypse. That speed was impressive. Fortunately, eating a bit of paper wouldn't cause illness. She shook her head speechlessly, went back to finish her midnight snack, and rested. On her first night in this world, Jiang Yin thought she would have insomnia, but she slept exceptionally well. A soul unburdened by pain craved a good night's sleep, and when she woke up, it was already noon the next day. After a quick wash, she stepped out of the simple staff dormitory and saw 5 eager faces outside the pancake stall. Ji Whiting was at the forefront, abandoning his previous aloofness. As soon as he saw her, he started ordering 50 beef egg pancakes, 50 cups of soy milk. Ah Xiang shouted, "Boss, there's a new variety." He glanced down without hesitation, then add 30 bacon egg pancakes, 30 cups of jujube soy milk. Ah Xiang suggested again, "Boss, the egg pancakes must taste different. Let's try those too." Then add 20 egg pancakes. After placing the order in one breath, he and his teammates looked forward with anticipation, not just for the large quantity of food about to arrive, but also eager to watch her skilled movements of making pancakes and soy milk again. Jiang Yin shook her head vigorously, asking in disbelief, "I didn't hear wrong, did I? A total of 100 pancakes, 80 cups of soy milk." "Yes, that's right," Ah Xiong answered emphatically. She was happy about the large order, but her conscience urged her to explain, "It's still quite hot now. Even if the pancakes and soy milk are stored in the fridge, they can only last a day or 2 at most. Buying too much will only lead to waste, and with such a large quantity, how will you take it back?" No sooner had she finished speaking than the group stepped aside to show her what was behind them. Turns out, they were well prepared, pulling 2 battered shopping carts. They could barely fit the pancakes and some of the soy milk. Regarding the preservation issue, Gu Whiting said, "Don't worry, boss. A mere 100 pancakes won't last the night." She saluted them in respect. Were the stomachs of post-apocalyptic ability users dimension bags? They could eat so much, since the customers insisted, it's not a problem. She naturally wouldn't push business away. Rolling up her sleeves and tying on her apron, she smiled warmly. "I'll prepare it right away for you. Please wait a moment." Perhaps trusting her more now, Gu Whiting paid the crystals in advance. A total of 420 level 1 crystals, but he only placed 24 crystals on the counter, among which 4 were noticeably larger and brighter. After a glance, the system immediately notified, "Level 2 crystals, 1 equals 100 level 1 crystals." It was the difference between 1 and 100. She calmly collected all the crystals into the counter, then busied herself without noticing Gu Whiting's thoughtful expression. Luckily, the pancake stall was upgraded last night. Otherwise, with just 1 pan, making 100 pancakes would take a day. Now, she went full throttle, marinating the beef strips, preparing the batter, and washing the vegetables. After the prep work, she began the continuous process of laying pancakes, cracking eggs, stir-frying vegetables, and operating the soy milk machine. Though busy, she wasn't chaotic. Instead, There was a unique rhythm to her work. The big men eagerly awaited their food, initially eating a pancake as soon as one was made until they all burped, then started to watch her work. For an ordinary person being stared at by 5 ability users, the scene was like a helpless lamb surrounded by fierce beasts. However, Jiang Yin was unfazed, just frantically making pancakes. Sun Hao whispered, "The boss is quite bold. No wonder she dares to spend the night outside alone." Gu Huiding responded in a low voice, she must have some trump card she hasn't shown. This boss is extraordinary. It's good to be on friendly terms with her. Sun Hao nodded in understanding. Exhausted and aching, she finally completed the large order. Watching Gu Huiding and his team skillfully load the pancakes and soy milk into the shopping carts, each carrying some in a comically overloaded fashion, she couldn't help but laugh. "Boss, we'll be going now. We'll come again next time." "All right, I look forward to your next visit." After they left, she rubbed her shoulders and waist, only drinking a cup of soy milk. She was too tired to move. The system notified her of several achievements, and she now had 16 blue diamonds. Additionally, after selling 100 pancakes, the pancake stall could be upgraded again, this time requiring 50 level 1 crystals. She confirmed the upgrade without hesitation. 30 minutes later, the pancake stall underwent another transformation. The pancake pan increased to 3. Another soy milk machine was added. Jujube soy milk was upgraded to Jujube peanut soy milk priced at 3 crystals a cup. Additionally, a new counter was added on the left. Marinated beef can be sold, priced at 5 crystal nuclei per portion. She briefly inspected, pulled out 10 sets of marinated beef ingredients from the system store, started boiling the marinade, and then, dragging her tired feet, walked towards the back, planning to lie down on the bed to rest. Just as she touched the doorknob, she suddenly heard surprised voices. "Is there actually a pancake stall here?" Turning her head, she saw 3 men who had emerged from the woods at some point. The 2 in front almost had identical sharp, monkey-like faces, except the one on the left had a conspicuous black mole on his nostril, and the one on the right had a mole on his chin. The man following them had a scar on his cheek. Looking particularly fierce, she instinctively didn't quite like these men, but adhering to the principle that the customer is king, she still put on a business smile and said, "Welcome to Shanghai Gourmet City's pancake stall. What would you like to eat? You can check the menu here." The man with the black mole's eyes lit up, a woman. The man with the mole on his chin licked his lips, a bit skinny. "Don't be too picky, having is good enough." Jiang Yin's eyes slightly darkened, sensing the malice in their words, but remembering this was a system-protected safe zone, she calmed down again. The scar-faced man observed her initial panic and subsequent calmness. A moment of deep thought flashed through his eyes, and he said, "Hoda, Ho-er, stop talking nonsense." Chapter 5. Blacklisted. The 3 had been working together for a long time and were naturally very in sync. Hearing his solemn voice, the 2 immediately understood. Hoda and Ho-er's joking demeanor vanished. "Ma'am, why is your shop located in such a remote wilderness?" "Yeah, and where's this gourmet city supposed to be?" She glanced at the man with the scar, realizing he was the leader of the trio, and thus addressed him. "My goal is to build a gourmet city here, and this pancake stall is the first step of a long journey. But this is a sea-level dangerous area." Hoda feigned confusion. "Ma'am, you dare to open a shop here and even plan to expand it. You must be very skilled and brave. I wonder what level of ability user you are." Ho-er chimed in. "We are from the Wolf God Squad of Changqing Base, quite well known around the base. It's fate that we met in the wilderness today. Why don't we become friends?" Following up, Hoda said, "We are all level 4 ability users. If you need anything in the future, you can come to us." Although he tried to appear friendly when he mentioned need, his gaze uncontrollably drifted downwards for a moment, which Jiang Yin immediately caught. Her expression darkened, and she bluntly said, "I'm only interested in doing business, not in making friends. Are you here to buy pancakes? If not, the shop is about to close." Not wanting to see their faces any longer, she lowered her head, pretending to tidy up. Missing the signal the man with the scar suddenly gave, Hoda suddenly got excited, took a leap towards the counter, intending to jump over it directly. Ability users generally have enhanced physical abilities, and a leap over a counter a little more than a meter high wouldn't require much effort. That was Hoda's thought a few seconds ago, but as he leaped, he felt as if he had hit an indestructible wall, and this wall also had a strong rebound force, bouncing him several meters away in the blink of an eye. He managed to adjust his posture in time, but it was so sudden that he couldn't stabilize himself, only preventing a fall by propping himself up with his hands. The expressions of all three men changed, with Ho Er directly exclaiming, "Boss, isn't she just an ordinary person?" The man with the scar looked over darkly. There's no fluctuation of abilities on her, and there's no ambush of other ability users nearby. What kind of bizarre power is this? Since they clearly had no intention of doing business, Jiang Yin had no patience to deal with them and directly summoned the system. Blacklist these three. The system immediately complied, silently recording their faces, irises, fingerprints, and voice prints, then setting them as blacklisted members. This way, even if they changed their appearances in the future, the system would immediately recognize them. While the three were pondering how to force her secret out, their surroundings suddenly blurred, and both the pancake stall and the seemingly easy-to-bully owner vanished, replaced by a gust of wind. Relying on their combat experience, they barely avoided an attack from a mutated bamboo viper, then realized Ho-san had just stepped on a snake nest, breaking 2 out of 3 snake eggs, with egg white and yolk spilled all over. Having lost her offspring, the mutated bamboo viper naturally wouldn't let them go. Before they could ponder why this happened, they were forced into a difficult fight. Meanwhile, Jiang Yin was asking the system, where did they go? Randomly teleported within a 50-meter radius around the safe zone. She nodded, once again appreciating the system's power. As long as she stayed within the safe zone, she didn't have to worry about anything. With no customers for the day, she went to the back to rest, waking up midway to put the beef in the marinade before falling asleep again, ending up oversleeping. She woke up after 10 p.m. and couldn't fall back asleep, her stomach protesting with hunger. She got up to make something for herself, slicing a plate of marinated beef, adding some seasonings and mixing. Taking a bite, the tender and flavorful beef made her eyes close in pleasure, lamenting, such good marinated beef should be paired with wine, what a pity. The system store only had cooking wine for now, so she settled for a cup of jujube peanut soy milk, having both food and drink, perhaps due to the great destruction of post-apocalyptic technological civilization. The night sky looked exceptionally clean and beautiful, filled with stars that couldn't be seen in neon-lit cities. She squinted, trying to identify constellations, but failed due to lack of experience. Looking away from the sky, she spotted a familiar little head. The child from yesterday was still hiding behind the same tree. His gaze locked on the remaining marinated beef. Feeling playful, she picked up a thinly sliced piece of marinated beef and gently shook it, the oil gleaming under the light, casting an enticing sheen. The child was indeed mesmerized, his swallowing sounds audible from afar. Want to eat? She continued to tempt. Then come over. The child gulped down his saliva but remained indifferent to her words, unsure if he couldn't understand or was just afraid. She mischievously stuffed the slice of beef into her mouth, exaggeratedly chewing, and let out a satisfied sigh. Tender, fragrant, with a slight spiciness stimulating the taste buds, enriching the flavor. The marinade is top-notch, my skills are still unmatched. Gulp, gurgle. Well, the swallowing and stomach rumbling almost formed a melody, and the drool was stretching down to his chest. Amused yet sympathetic, she finally put away her mischief, cut another portion of marinated beef, and made another cup of jujube peanut soy milk. When the soy milk machine started, the child was scared back behind the tree. She quickly called out, "Don't go, I can't finish all this by myself." It was silent behind the tree, and she dared not step out of the safe zone to check. Sighing helplessly, But as soon as the soy milk machine stopped, the little head peeked out again, relieved about not wasting food. She happily packed the 2 items, then, as if remembering something, lifted her soy milk to drink in front of the child. Then, like the night before, she used a stick to pass the 2 bags over. The child eagerly grabbed the bags, hesitated when opening his mouth, then looked up at her. Jiang Yin smiled encouragingly. He clumsily approached the cup's edge and mimicked her drinking. Seeing he had learned, she extended her thumb to praise him, but it scared the child. Clutching the bags tightly, he vanished in an instant. Shrugging, she returned to the counter to continue eating. The dense night enveloped the woods, and with her vision, she couldn't see the child sitting on a tree, watching her movements intently. Then, imitating her, he picked up disposable chopsticks, only to find them connected. Fumbling, he broke them in half with a snap. The child was stunned, staring at the now 2 short sticks. Then, feeling defeated, threw the chopsticks away, tore open the bag, and stuffed a handful of marinated beef into his mouth, blissfully closing his eyes. Welcome to subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell, and follow.